Hello folks, Duncan here at Free as an Eagle, and I'm just doing another quick progress update on the little Eagle house, the A-frame. So yeah, my son-in-law came up this morning and we got a little work done. So because we're in an A-frame and space is limited, and I have a nice big basement, we decided to put a pantry area down at the bottom of the stairs in the cellar. So we put together a little frame, an 8 by 8 foot frame, using some pressure treated 4x4s to get us a few inches off the concrete floor for reasons of moisture prevention and the like. In the unlikely event you ever get water in a basement, it's nice to be a little bit above it with what you build, and you want pressure treated in direct contact with concrete because it can transmit moisture. So I bought some new 4x4s, and we actually salvaged some plywood that's been basically laying outside on a pile of wood for probably a year and a half, but it held up pretty well. One nicer piece we're able to sand so that it'll take stain well, and then we're going to take some cabinets we're able to obtain fairly cheaply and build a little pantry section that's going to have that tall upright cabinet and then these two others stacked. And there's all pull-outs in the large cabinet, so it'll create some nice space. And then we're going to put a little upright freezer next to that. And so we're going to have a platform that you step up on, then you go a few feet back, and these cabinets will be accessible. And then I'm leaving a little bit of hidden space in behind it for storage totes and door and window screens and the like in behind it. So that's a handy access space. I'll turn around and walk up the stairs. And they're covered with paper just to protect them. They were polyed. So that's another little project, getting everything stained and polyed to look pretty and then protecting it as we're still working. So I'll give you a quick tour. We did a few things today. We did that, put that platform together, and then we came into the downstairs bathroom, which is still under construction. But now that a lot of the house is done, we're getting down to details. One of which is installing the ceiling vent fans. And in this bathroom, ran into a couple issues. One, the plumbing for the toilets and sinks upstairs had to go across the ceiling. So I realized I had to lower the ceiling a little bit to accommodate that plumbing. And it made it easier to install this vent fan to do that, because I don't like butchering up framing by drilling through floor joists any more than I have to. So what we did is, I had previously installed the vent outside, little louvered vent. Then we have the tube coming in, which we haven't hooked up yet. We just framed this roof, the ceiling down to get us below the plumbing. And based on that framing, we were able to install this vent fan. And these are a little easier to install than they used to be, but they basically give you a bracket that you install before you put the box in of the heavier components in. You just have this fairly lightweight metal frame that gets screwed in, and this is frame 24 in center. It gives you some extra room, but those rails move in and out. They slide over one another, and then you do add screws to tighten it up, and then after that's in place, you just set the box in there, and it's not too difficult to install that. I've got to do the wiring later, but we will get to that. You do run into some unintended consequences, like when I initially hung this 200 amp panel. I wanted it on the first floor where I could easily access it without running up and down to the basement constantly. And of course I went high with it, just to have it as high as I could and make it less conspicuous and good for safety. But of course, as I built the ceiling down, I realized I got to leave room for that door to open. So I've got to leave a little pocket up above in the ceiling for that. Not a biggie, but a thing that happens. And then other than that, we've got the little drawer base. This actually is going to be an island, but we had a lot of leftover pine that we had stained and polyed just to have available for various projects, and this became one of those projects. So it's wainscoted the island on 3 sides, and so that's happy. That'll make it look pretty. And then heading up the stairs, I've been working upstairs a little bit. We hung the ceiling fan in the upstairs bathroom, so I'll take a quick walk up there. Been detailing it. I've put a couple more coats of poly on these stairs recently, so they're happy. The little balcony needs a little cleanup, and of course the little dormers have been trimmed out. the large one. So I'm running out of things to do other than the bathrooms and the kitchen. So that's kind of forcing me to jump on those projects that I was putting off a little bit. And then the ceiling, this entry spot, I trimmed out. Oh, that little piece I've got to add in. I had to do a little bit of touch up and paint up there. I thought I'd installed that last piece. I'll get to it. And then in this bathroom, the same sort of situation, except this was easier. This is the upstairs bathroom, so there's no plumbing going in above this. The only thing we added in was a vent through the roof, and that was beyond and toward the outside, so it didn't interfere with the ceiling. So this ceiling we did have to just punch one hole through for that vent tube, and then I sent the tube down and out next to the window instead of over it, because on the outside of the building it gets narrower and there's a little eagle up on the wall there. I didn't want to interfere with that, so I sent the vent down in there, which worked fine, and we got that wired in, so we have another vent fan for the upstairs bath. And this one, there's still a ways to go. We've got to get a floor in here. We have the fixtures ready to go, so these are going to be the focus of the next few weeks, just to get all these things in, get the plumbing finished, get the vanities in there and the sinks. Yeah, all in the hopes of moving in September. So we're getting down to just the last few major things, and that includes the kitchen floor and those cabinets and the sink. But it is coming, and we will just keep moving ahead as time permits, and hopefully we'll be in here before snow flies. So that's a catch up. Talk to you again soon. Enjoy the day.